The Football League is looking for new sponsors after the decision by sponsors Canon to withdraw their support. The camera manufacturers say they won't be renewing their £3 million contract at the end of the season. They say they want to put their money into other sports, and with the present television agreement also due to expire this spring, many clubs will be facing a struggle to survive. But League Secretary Graham Kelly says it's now up to the fans to keep their favourite game going.
The biggest sponsor of league football, after all, is still the supporter who's paid at the gate. That's where we derive £50 million from last season. The £3 million plus which Canon paid us over the 3 years is very welcome, but it's not a major blow to us.
Independent Radio News.
Perhaps a manufacturer of knuckle dusters would like to sponsor the Football League. Add a spot of appropriateness to it.
Red Rose Stadium.
I'll do, John.
This is the voice of the Mysterons. Allan Beswick, we need your Mars bars. Immediately. Have we made contact with the Beswick? Hello? Where are your Mars bars?
Strange for the Mysteron to ultimately have such a high-pitched voice. How do Kathy? She's gone home. Kathy, go home. Hello, Ian.
All right, Alan. Yeah, you were saying the other week how you didn't agree with like cigarette companies sponsoring sport, but how come these people, like, they put a lot of money into the sport and help people out and that, but it still doesn't encourage people to smoke? So why are you so against it?
The answer to the suggestion that it doesn't encourage people to smoke is absolute bunkum. Why are they doing it? They're not doing it because they like people to be involved in sport. They're doing it because they like people to buy their filthy product. That's why they're doing it. Canon League has been, well, in an interview this morning, the marketing director of Canon said that whilst they cannot quantify in financial terms the value of Canon sponsoring the Football League, just by having their name associated with the Football League, they have changed their market penetration from something like 12% to something like 76%. In other words, before they got involved in sponsoring the Football League, Canon, if you stopped people in the street and asked them, 12% will have heard of the company, Canon. Now, 76% will have heard of the company. Now, that also applies to other sports, perhaps not as dramatically, but certainly applies. People are aware of the existence of Embassy, and Embassy is in their mind, along with Number 6 and all the other filth, simply because they sponsor sport. And to say it doesn't work is absolute hogwash.
No, I wasn't saying it doesn't work.
It does work. It encourages people to smoke.
It's still up to the person's own choice.
Yes, it is up to the person's own choice. But if the person sees that cigarette companies represent excellent physique and sportsmanlike behaviour, then they're going to be tempted, just like they're tempted to other products that are sponsored. It is absolutely imperative to a national company that it gets its product mentioned, or the name of its product, on the radio. You wouldn't believe the offers we get. A radio station, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. So I get invited probably twice a week to free nosh-ups and free do's, just so that I'll say I'm going to that free nosh-up, because it's in their interest.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, like, if it wasn't for these companies, they're still not forcing you to smoke. But if it wasn't for
Indeed, they are not forcing you to smoke.
But if it wasn't for the companies, a lot of people wouldn't have had as much as a chance at sport as in the higher brackets.
The answer to that is yes, absolutely so. The money provided by sponsorship is good for the sport. I'm not interested in whether it's good for the sport. I'm interested in whether it's good for the population at large. And I would argue that it is not good for the population at large to have the disgusting, vile products made by cigarette companies and other tobacco companies promoted via the back door on television. I would have the whole damn thing banned, because I think it is foul.
Well, that goes on the mentality of the people on being.
It does go on the mentality of the people.
How easily led people can be, though, isn't it?
People are easily led, Ian. To be absolutely brutal about it, if they were not so easily led by advertising, this radio station and Granada Television wouldn't exist.
Yeah. But,
If I asked you, Ian, to name 5 products of anything, you would name all those that advertised.
probably, yeah.
Yes, that is so. There's no doubt about it. Advertising works.
But that's true with everything. Like, everything is advertised, isn't it? Otherwise it wouldn't.
The answer to that is no. Everything is not advertised. Not advertised at all. There are lots of products that are not advertised because the management of those companies aren't sensible enough or can't afford it. But that doesn't alter the original argument, and that is whether cigarette advertising or cigarette sponsorship and other tobacco product sponsorship of sport is a good idea. The answer is, it is a bad idea. I'll tell you something that happened, and it annoyed me, that happened in Blackburn Shopping Centre just before Christmas. You know these disgusting little tobacco tea bag things?
Yeah.
That you put under your gum. I can't think of anything more repulsive. Why, I'd sooner have a dog turd up there, to be perfectly honest. I cannot think of anything more repulsive than that. However, they sponsor a motor team, you know, a Formula 1 motor racing team.
Yeah.
And in Blackburn Market Centre, their shopping precinct centre, a couple of weeks before Christmas, presumably with the approval of the council, which strikes me once again how stupid councillors are, but they had this motor racing vehicle there, and they had large-breasted women and pictures of this wonderful eye-tie that drives their car, and they were going round and giving people this product. They were giving it to them so that they could shove it up their nose or under their gum or what have you and learn how wonderful it is. I nearly took one just for the pleasure of vomiting all over the place, but eventually thought, no, I won't lower myself to their disgraceful level. But it does work. These tobacco companies are disgraceful. They are perfectly prepared to have people die so that they can make money. And they are prepared to spend some of their money on advertising, and they do it because it works. They don't do it because they're charitable. If they were charitable, they would cease trading immediately.
Well, don't you think Liverpool Council is good because they're an anti-smoking council? It's a good thing about Liverpool.
I think that's a good idea, yes. Anyone that is anti-smoking can't be totally wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, then, Alan.
Okay?
All right, thanks.
Ta-ra.
Yeah.
I'll do, Peter.
Hello, it's Captain Scarlet here again, complaining about the state of this country. I mean, apart from the fact that I still haven't
Peter, you have extraordinary powers, don't you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
On occasions, can you fly?
With the aid of my spaceship.
With the aid of your spaceship?
Yeah.
And you're complaining about this country?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you pick off to another one?
Well, you see, Superman came over, my mate from America came over today and he got arrested. I mean, you arrested Superman? I mean, you just don't do things like that.
Why not?
Well, they said he was...
if you saw a fellow in a blue stocking-necked, body-hugging gear,
Yeah.
with a pair of red underpants on the outside, I think you'd be tempted to arrest him.
Well, Derek Webster goes around like that all the time.
Well, yes, I know, but I mean, Derek's, you know, I mean, you can't tell that it's body-hugging, because he's like spaghetti, isn't he?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Well,
Right?
all right.
No.
I still, you know...
You still... Thank you very much, Captain Scarlet. Say good night.
No?
All right, don't. How do, David?
Hello, Mr. Beswick.
Hello, David.
I'd like to talk about Madonna, please.
Good.
Pardon?
Good.
I think she's the fittest bird on the earth.
I don't even know what you mean. I thought a bird was one of those things that went flap, flap.
Girl,
flap,
you Wally.
I'm sorry?
Girl.
Girl?
words.
Oh, a fittish girl. She's fit, is she? She's a good jogger.
Yeah. Good looking, in other words.
Oh, good looking.
If you didn't realise, yeah.
Well, no, I don't. Fit to me means physically
Healthy.
fit, healthy and vigorous.
I see.
Yes.
I'll-
We have a language barrier, David. I suggest you ring someone that understands you. Try Ian Cook on Radio Lancashire. I'm sure he'll know what you mean. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
Can you tell me when it is that you're going to be on telly in the Northwest? Should you be on the telly?
No, I can't tell you when it is.
Why not?
Because I don't know.
Oh, you said you were going to be on sometime this month, didn't you?
I am going to be on sometime this month, according to the BBC, but they've not yet told me when.
It's on BBC.
It will be on BBC. It's on a programme fronted by Billy Butler. It's not the dreadful thing that was on at tea time today. I watched it, and it was awful. I had to turn it off. It's not that one. He's doing a programme, I've forgotten what it's called, in fact, but he's doing a programme which is a series of interviews, and I'm one of the interviewees, and it's on sometime in January, and more than that, I don't know.
All right. I've got a
If
question.
ever I do know, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. What's got 324 dimples?
I don't know or care.
No, it's not a joke. No, it's not a joke.
I still don't know or care.
The golf ball.
Excellent.
Excellent. Right.
Ta-ra.
See ya, Captain.
Whatever the occasion you're celebrating, make sure you do it in style. Hire a classic Rolls-Royce or Dorchester limousine from Morris Rawcliffe. Telephone Lytham 735 269 now for full details.
Shop fronts, tiled stall risers, side pillars, display layouts, recessed arcades, canopies, fascia signs, acoustic ceilings, floor finishes, wall panelling, racking systems. This is just a short list of some of the many tasks undertaken by AE Newby Unifit, shop fitters and more. Numerous major companies and shops already rely on their services. Why don't you? Visit the AE Newby Unifit showroom and see their wide range of gown rails and racking systems, along with fittings for all types of shops. Contact the specialists, AE Newby Unifit, on Preston 562311. That's Preston 562311. AE Newby Unifit, shop fitters and more.
High Motors for Ford.
Pye Motors of Lancaster and Morecambe are making it much easier for you to afford a new Ford this year. Although officially prices went up on the 1st of January 1986, Pye Motors are still offering 1985 prices. What an amazing deal! Give yourself a great start to the new year with a Ford at 1985 prices. Hurry to Pye Motors while stocks last. Pye Motors, Parliament Street, Lancaster and Northgate, Morecambe.
High Motors.
I'll do, Alec.
I'd like to know about the introduction of Cindy dolls to young children, and I wanted to know your opinions on it.
You'll have to be more specific with your question.
I wanted to know what you thought about the introduction of Cindy dolls to young children, and do you think it's appalling that they are sexually motivated?
How do you mean? The children are sexually motivated or the Cindy dolls?
Cindy dolls are sexually motivated.
In what way are Cindy dolls sexually motivated?
Well, if you look at them in a sort of literal sense, and you take the dresses off, well, they can be very sexually stimulating.
They may well be to you, Alex, but
Well,
I don't believe...
They're not sexually stimulating to me, but they may be to young children.
Young children, what age groups are you discussing?
I'd say about 5 to 9.
5 to 9?
Yes.
It's a good time, it's now 11:15. But the age group 5 to 9, it would be unusual for that group to be sexually stimulated. So goodbye, you cretinous little wimp. Hello, Rosalie.
Hello, Alan. I wonder if you could give me some information. My husband rang up a few weeks ago inquiring about a record by Howard Carpendale, and I wonder if you could give me any information on him.
Information about Howard Carpendale?
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about him.
Is there any address I can...
Well, I don't know of one.
No.
To me, it's just a record. I don't know more than that. It's just a... By that, I mean it's not in one of these picture bags or anything like that. The only information on it is what's on the record, and that's the name of the producer and things like that. So I know nought.
Okay.
You could write to his record company, or to the record company that produces his music, and that, if I remember correctly, is Juice Records, but I've not a clue where they are, presumably in London somewhere.
Okay.
If you drop us a line, I can give you the name and address of his record company, at least.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Ta-ra.
Thanks very much.
I'll do, Edna.
Hello, Alan. I was just like to tell you about your cat that grabbed your supper the other night.
Well, it wasn't my cat, it was somebody else's cat.
I mean,
Go
yes,
on.
I mean, a strange cat. Well, I get the same trouble. So you want to ask Vicky to put a spot of pepper down round the cat hole?
Well, why can't I put pepper down round the cat hole?
Sorry?
Why does Vicky have to do it?
Well, perhaps before you come home.
Oh, I see. Well, she's in bed.
Oh, but...
And will this in any way prevent my cat coming in?
Oh, no, it doesn't prevent mine.
Well, why...
You usually put the pepper down.
I don't understand how the pepper will prevent one cat and not another. How do I know that the cat that ate me dinner doesn't like pepper? It probably does, because my dinner would have had a lot of pepper in it anyway.
Well, it's worth trying. I've got 3 cats, and they come and go at the will, but I don't get the strange one in when I put the pepper down.
Right, well,
It's just a thought.
it's worth a try. If nothing else works, I can always eat the carpet, can't I? Thank you very much, Edna.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Ta-ra.
Bye.
Extraordinary. Put pepper down is, I'm told, the answer. Hello, John.
Hello, Alan. You'll be on all night tonight, won't you?
No.
Well, you won't get home? Must be a good Sierra.
Of course I'll get home. I got here, I'll get home.
You'll be snowed up after.
Fine. I'll stay in the crest then.
Very good. See ya.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
How do, Duncan?
Hello.
Hello.
I went into a cafe today. I ordered tea and toast, and I paid for it. The woman said it was 90 pence, so I gave her the 90 pence and sat down on my table. And about 5 minutes later, they brought the tea and toast over to me. And I just took one sip of the tea. And this fella came up to me, grabbed me, he says, get out, you know, and all this shouting at me. And when I got out on the pavement, I said, what was that for? He said, for Duncan. I said, well, what was the tea and toast for? He said, that was for Duncan. I said, well, what were you kicking?
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
I am Odin, Lord of Asgard, God of Midgard, and ruler of Valhalla, Hall of Silver and Gold in King William Street, Blackburn. I bring you my personal pledge that the reductions on my finest diamond jewelry are genuine offers with as much as 50% off. Diamond rings previously at £450 are now only £225. Call in soon to Valhalla, King William Street, Blackburn. I defy you to buy anywhere else.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding. First, the bad news. The Ford Motor Company have increased the price of new Fords. But now here's the good news. John Wilding can still offer you new Ford cars at the old prices. An offer as good as this can only last for a short amount of time. So rush over to see the amazing deals John Wilding has to offer you. New Fords at old prices for a limited period only at Fairview Garage, Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
This is a special announcement for all small business owners in Lancashire who don't realise the implications of the new VAT rules. If you're not fully aware of the new legislation, you could become liable for some unexpected and severe penalty payments. It's for this reason that one of the country's most respected chartered accountants, Deloitte, in association with Red Rose Radio, will hold a seminar on value-added tax on Wednesday, February the 5th at 7:30 p.m. The venue is the Novotel, just off Junction 29 on the M6 motorway at Walton Summit, Preston. The seminar will deal with all the new penalties and will demonstrate ways in which the planning and structuring of transactions can result in the improvement of cash flow. We'll also answer any questions you may have regarding VAT. If you'd like to attend this very important evening, write to Carol Jemson at Red Rose Radio. The address is St Paul's Square, Preston, PR1 1YE, enclosing a cheque for £5.75. You'll then receive a fact sheet, programme and an invitation. And you can, of course, call in to Red Rose Radio reception. Make sure your company isn't penalised by the new rules.
That £5.75 includes VAT, of course. How do, Jack?
I'm going.
Oh, yes, that was a long time ago. How do, Charlie?
Hello, Alan. Yeah, you know, when you're married, right, can you, you know, like your wife and your fella, you're married and your wife falls out with you, and they get an injunction order out on you, Can you get one out on them?
The answer is yes.
So it can work vice versa, can it?
Yes, but you will need to convince the courts that it is right and proper for an injunction to be issued.
Oh, well, that's all I wanted to know, Alan. Thank you very much.
But it is possible.
But hang on, before we go, Alan, can you tell me your favourite record of all time? Yours?
Mine?
Yeah, your favourite record of all time.
I haven't got one, really.
You must have, like everybody's got a favourite record, what they treasure, but most of all. You must have a favourite record.
Well, all right, I must have.
Well,
you tell me what it is.
You tell me.
I don't know.
Okay, Marmot, I'll tell you anyway.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra now.
I'll do Jeremy.
Hello, Alan. You know what? When they did the Live Aid concert,
Yes?
why didn't they do a Live Aid for spastics?
I've no idea.
No, because I think they should do, because I think it's very, very poor for the spastics, the people with long...
Go away, cretin. I'll do Gary.
Hello, Alan. Where do you get all your info from?
From reading.
From reading what?
All sorts of things.
What, like?
Like newspapers, like textbooks, like novels occasionally.
Yeah. Don't you get it from nowhere else, like?
What do you mean from nowhere else like?
Before you came on this show, like, what did you used to be before?
Excuse me, Gary, why do you keep saying like?
Why? Yeah, I don't want to talk to you, man. You're busy.
I'm sorry?
You're busy, man. I don't want to talk to you.
Okay. Soon be satisfied. Hello, Stephen.
Oh, Alan. I rung up last time it was snowing around Blackburn area and asked you whether you wanted a snowball fight. You want one tonight?
No, thank you. I've just been told by somebody that I won't get as far as Blackburn tonight in order to have that snowball fight. But no, thank you very much.
Will you be driving home again tonight?
I hope so, yes.
Yeah. Hope you make it up well.
So do I. Cheers. I must say thank you to the lads in our village who knocked on my door this evening and said, "Are you going to work tonight?" To which Vicky replied, "Yes, he is." And they said, "Well, he'd better go now because he'll have to dig out if he doesn't hurry up." And they were right. So thank you to both those lads. I'll do Roger.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Alan.
Hiya.
I'd like to talk about the disgusting rate of unemployment. Oh?
Well, you said you'd like to talk about it. There's no obstruction to that desire, so
Yeah,
get
well,
on with it.
I think the government should be doing a lot more than what they're doing already. And I don't think...
Well, for example, what?
Well, they should be creating more schemes to which more people could be employed.
For example?
Like, community work and that. More community work and making go into army for a certain amount of years.
Well, that's your definition of work, is it? Putting them in the army or giving them community work?
I think it's work, yeah. It is work.
So you would like conscription to be brought back?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Merely to reduce unemployment?
Yeah. Because, government's paying them for nothing, aren't they, aren't they?
Well, they won't be paying them for so very much in the army.
Well, at least they're doing something, aren't they?
What will they be doing? Have you ever been in the army?
Well, I'm going to be.
I asked you what they would be doing. Would you like to tell me what they'll be doing?
In the army?
Yes.
Well, they'll be like, when they're trained and that, they'll be defending the country.
They won't actually be defending their country, will they?
Yeah,
Most
they
of them.
If they're in the army, they'll be defending the country.
What do you mean? I asked you what they will do. How does a soldier fill his or her day?
Okay.
How does a soldier fill his or her day?
By, training and...
Training at what?
At the work. Like,
at what work?
Fit.
Let me tell you something. For someone that's been in the army, a large proportion of the people in the armed forces do nout all day, get bored out of their skulls all day, because they've got nothing to do. They may well be, in theory, defending their country, but I don't think you can suggest... It does matter,
They'll be doing nothing all day if they're on dole.
But a soldier costs considerably more to run than does somebody on the dole. Considerably more.
Yeah, but at least they're doing something, not nothing.
Who is going to pay for all this, Roger?
Pardon?
Who is going... Watch my lips. I know it's difficult for you. You've not even made it to being a squatter yet. Who is going to pay for all this?
The government, that's the news, you know.
The government doesn't have any money. The government gets it. Where does the government get the money from for this?
From raising the tax or something.
Raising the tax.
Yeah.
Now, when they raise the tax, who does that affect?
Don't affect anybody.
Doesn't affect anybody. So if they raise the tax, it won't affect me, it won't affect you at all.
Well, if they raised it by a pen, do you think how many people in country like?
They raised it by
1p.
1 pence.
Yeah.
I see. Well, if they raise... Do you mean 1 pence in the pound or 1 pence per head?
1 pence a head.
1 pence per head?
Yeah.
Per year?
Yeah. No, not per year.
Per week?
Well, yeah.
So that will give the government 50 pence per person per year.
Yeah, that's good, that.
And that's enough
And that will pay
to
'em.
put 4 million people into the armed forces.
Not 4 million.
That's how many are unemployed.
You asked for one example,
Okay.
and I'll give you one example.
Well, I'm sorry, your example is futile. Bringing back conscription would reduce unemployment. Of course it would. It would be a very temporary measure. It would be a very expensive measure. And much more important than that, much more important, it would provide our government, full of politicians, with a ready-made army, and ready-made armies fight wars.
Of course they do, that's what they're there for, aren't they? That's why.
Indeed, but without increasing the armed forces, we might just avoid going to war. One of the reasons that the Yanks are quite happy to go to war is because they have a massive military force. We haven't. So we're always reluctant to go to war.
Well, they weren't very reluctant when Argentinians raided Falklands, did they?
They were reluctant.
They were that
They
way.
still went along, but they were reluctant. It was not the desire of this government, they said, to go to war.
Yeah, but they'd start nicking all other parts of countries, wouldn't they? Like, they thought they could get away with that.
Indeed, yes, but you're now changing the argument base. The base is whether conscription and spending money in other directions will solve the unemployment problem. And you tell me that we need to increase income tax by a penny per head per week, and it's going to solve 4 million jobs.
I didn't say 4 million, I said you asked for an example.
I answer. Well, indeed, you said... Well, just a moment then. So you've established then that the conscription is going to cost, in your view, a penny per person per week. Now, how many jobs is that going to provide?
Well, as many as they can get in, really.
Yes, I realise that. So how many jobs?
About 1 million.
1 million.
Yeah.
So then, what are we going to do with the other 3 million?
Well, we'll find another scheme for him.
Well, okay, we'll find one. You see, the problem is that you seem to think that by taxing every person available for tax in Britain by an extra penny per week...
Yeah, but listen...
Listen, no, you listen, you listen, you listen, you listen, you listen. You seem to believe that increasing income tax by 1 penny per person per week will provide the Chancellor with enough revenue to recruit 1 million people into the armed forces. I tell you, your mathematics are not even sensible. I'm sorry, it is useless, Roger. It is useless having a sensible conversation on the basis of some made-up policy that you have not thought out. Go away, you immature little fool. Hello, Pauline.
Hello.
Hello.
You know cat flap business?
We're not talking any more about the cat flap business. Are you deaf, stupid, or both? Hello, Mark.
Hello, you know, I'm boss.
You're too young. I do not want to talk to children. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Alan.
What do you want?
I bet I can make you cut me off without...
You've done it already, Gary. How do, Gary?
Hello?
Yep.
It's just a bit of general knowledge on... Hang on, I'll turn the radio off. Oh, hello?
Yes, we've got you.
Oh.
Good, I thought you were going to turn your radio down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm hanging on. I've been hanging on for some moments now.
Yeah, I got confused. There's another Gary on.
Yes, I know. That's why we ask you to turn it down. It still isn't down enough, so go away. Turn your radio off when you have a conversation with me, because if I hear it, I'll cut you off. Hello, Phil.
I'll do, Alan. You alright?
I'm alright. I'm worried about you, but go on.
Well, I just want to talk about, I was in a pub the other night. I went over to Great Hall. Have you ever heard of that place? Somewhere in Lancashire.
Would you like to just progress? If you're doing a survey about my geography, you're wasting your breath.
Yeah, well, I went to tell you what it is. I went into a pub, and I saw this thing behind the bar, you know, like this mild bitter and lager, you know, and they did like a draft chimney on, you know. I thought, well, I've never seen this sort of stuff before, so I'll have a pint of it, you know. Have you ever heard of it or tasted it?
No. Will you stop doing a survey?
Yeah, well, I'd just like to say on.
Go away, dumbbell. I'll do John. Are you going to speak, John, or is this beyond your capabilities? It would appear that it's beyond your capabilities. Never mind. On line 5, we have somebody called Bill. Hello, Bill. Are you going to speak, Bill?
Hello?
Are you Bill?
No.
What is your name?
John.
I see. Hello, John.
How do, Alan?
Turn your radio off, John. Go on, turn your radio off. There, now what do you want? Would appear you want nothing, never mind. I wonder where we're going to next. We'll have a break and then we'll go somewhere. Back to the lines. We ought to be going to line 6, wherein lies a person called Greenie, but we don't use nicknames on this programme, so we're going to line 7, and line 6 can sit there and rot for all I care. I'll do Peter.
Hello, Alan. I've just been eating one of these potted meals. I won't mention. And I found a spot of cat doodle in it.
I'll do Steve. Hello, Victor.
Hello, Alan. I was watching television today, and Margaret Thatcher was on it talking about nuclear war. And she turned around and said, in the case of nuclear war, there'll be no...
Steve, as far as I'm concerned, nuclear war is not something to laugh about. Show off to your immature little friends in some other way. Get off this programme. I'll do Victor. Are you going to speak, Victor? My God, we've got some cretins on tonight. Goodbye, Victor. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Alan. Are you alright?
Yes?
I'm ringing about that bloke who was on tonight who was saying about them dogs. That
what, the other night?
That Jeff, that cretin you kept going on about.
Oh, I see, with dogs. Go on.
Yeah, he was saying they was injected, weren't they?
That was what he implied, yes.
Yeah, well, there was a programme on, it wasn't a programme, it was on that TVAM. And the guy that was training that dog, that Cocker Spaniel, he came on that programme, and he was saying that what word did he say? They taught them just like ordinary dogs, if you know what I mean. They'd give them a stick, threw it, fetched it back, and petted it, and made a fuss of it. And then they started to put that little cone with little holes in it, and they put this heroin in it. It must have been in a container or something. And then they threw this into the building, and the dog fetched that back, and then they petted the dog again. And that's
so it's just a standard process for training a dog?
Ordinary standard, yeah.
Rather what I suspected, Brian. Thank you for telling us.
Okay, then.
Cheers, ta-ra. I'll do Ken. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right. Thank you very much.
Good.
How are you?
Very well.
I've got a problem with Comet, with the electrical firm. I bought a compact...
Not allowed to name companies on this programme. Thank you for your call. I'll do Mary.
Hello, Alan. This
Hello.
is Mary.
Yes, well, what do you want?
Is it all right for me to inquire about something that comes on your programme?
Rather depends.
If it's an
ad...
comes on with the news sometime, Michael Green.
Oh, Michael?
Yeah.
Yes, what do you want to know?
Well, I kind of know him from years ago, you know.
Well?
I don't suppose I have to mention the name where I lived. We're in, where we're living now, we're in Blackpool, of course. But I think I know him. You know, when he was a kid. He'd be about 6. He used to live with us, I think.
I very much doubt it.
I think it is him.
Well, he lived in London when he was a child.
Well, he originated from Manchester.
He doesn't originate...
One I knew.
Well, fine, the one you knew. He doesn't originate from Manchester. What age would this Michael Green be?
He'll be about 49 now.
Well, you're somewhat off mark.
Oh.
Our Michael is not yet 49.
He gives you. I've seen him on television.
You've not
And he
seen our
loves
Michael
his
on.
mother very, very much.
You've not seen our Michael Green on television.
Well, I've seen him on telly. Michael Green.
I don't care who you've seen on telly, Mary. You've not seen Michael Green of Red Rose Radio on telly.
Oh, isn't that the same?
No.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted just to give you a little tip about our dog. You'd never believe it.
Well, is your dog called Michael Green?
No.
Well, I don't need the tip. Okay.
Listens to you.
Well,
we put the
she's obviously very sensible.
she listens to you.
Good. Thanks very much, Mary.
Oh, it's not him, then.
No, it's not
That's all
him.
I wanted to know.
Well, now you do.
Yes.
How do, Russell?
All right, Alan.
Yes?
Listen, I'm wondering whether I'm in my rights to park on a church car park.
That rather depends on why you want to park there. Are you attending the church?
No.
Then no, you're not.
Not even late at night when nobody's there.
Not even late at night. It isn't your land, is it?
Well, it's not. There's nobody using it.
That isn't relevant. The issue is whether you have the right to park there. You do not.
Well, it's just that the vicar clodders off.
Well, it still doesn't matter. You're not allowed to park there. All right?
So I'll have to find somewhere else.
Yes. I'll do Roy.
Allan Beswick on his show.
It's Roy Rogers. Why don't you carry on singing to your horse? I'll do Fred.
Cat doodle in potted foods.
I'll do Nathan.
You willies like a...
I'll do John. Are you going to speak, John? It seems we have a collection of Pratts this evening. Has there been some psychiatric hospital that's evicted its inhabitants or something? Would seem so. I often wonder when people come on the telephone, with the garbage that they've got in their brains, how they can manage to use a telephone. Still, it's not my problem. Hello, Alec.
I'd like to talk about abnormal deformities.
You cannot have a normal deformity, so ring me back when you understand the English language. Hello to somebody who calls himself Ninja.
How do you, Al?
Hello.
You alright?
It's hardly your business. What do you want?
Yeah, well, anyway, listen, Al.
Why are you called Ninja?
Pardon?
Granted. Why are you called Ninja?
Why am I called Ninja?
I asked you first.
Well, that's what my mum and dad called me.
Did it? Right. Now what do you want?
Well, I've built this nuclear bomb in back garden. I wonder if you
Very good. I
Reagan.
suggest you put it in your mouth. How do Mike?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk to you about the Strategic Defence Initiative.
Go on.
Better known as Star Wars, of course.
Indeed.
One of the things that's puzzling me about Reagan's Star Wars policy is the idea that he keeps selling to us that it will protect the world from future nuclear conflict. And it surprises me that nobody yet has taken the trouble to stand up and say that if it is possible to develop technology for machinery to shoot down missiles that are travelling outside the atmosphere, how much easier is it going to be to use the same technology or similar technology to shoot objects on the ground that are not yet moving and use it in a offensive capacity?
The answer to that is obviously it is perfectly possible. Indeed, I feel sure that that's the next step for the Yanks.
Well, quite, but why is nobody standing up and talking about this?
Well, the only person that we would hear saying that would be Mrs. Thatcher, and she, of course, is Reagan's lapdog.
Yes, quite.
She does everything Reagan says. Even in the issue of Westland helicopters, she's leaning very heavily towards the Yanks, despite the fact that the company applying for Westland, including the American consortium, about 8% of that is owned by Colonel Gaddafi.
Quite, yes, this is one of the things that never gets reported in the news, isn't
Indeed. I mean, the woman's just Reagan's lapdog. When he says jump, the whole of Britain jumps because of the dozy woman running us.
That's right.
The trouble is, the only alternative is either David Owen, Kinnock, or that other wimp. I've forgotten his name. David Steele. How he got a name like that, God alone knows. I mean, what's the hell? Not one of them worth a light on a wet day, is there?
But, I mean, the thing that's really bothering me is I'm interested. I mean, you've mentioned all these names, Steele, Owen, Kinnock, and why are none of them standing up and saying, look, SDI can be used, or could potentially be used, as an offensive weapon. What's going wrong with the opposition?
Well, nobody's told them that yet. I mean, you don't expect politicians to think for themselves, do you?
Well, no, but they do have advisory bodies and all the rest of it.
Well, yes, I know, but the advisory bodies at the moment are all a bit wimpy. They're all frightened. You see, the great problem is, to put it seriously, the great problem is that the Western world survives on industrial turnaround. And a large percentage of that industrial turnaround is armaments.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that we in Lancashire, our major industry, I would say, in Lancashire, is to do with guns, bombs and other armaments.
Right.
And of course, we are not going as a country to knock something that can provide us with a lot of work, because our politicians haven't the guts to say we don't want work making bombs.
Quite. Actually, this raises rather more interesting and even deeper questions. I mean, you're talking about industrial turnaround, and it strikes me, being sympathetic to the green issues, that the idea of industrial growth going on in perpetuity is not an idea that is going to work anyway. I mean, sooner or later we're going to run out of usable resources anyway. Of
course we are.
I wonder if the actual shape of the political system that we have in this country is geared, or even thinking about gearing itself, to prepare for that eventuality. I suspect.
The answer to that is no. In this country particularly, but in other countries also, we have politics of correction. We never actually come up with anything incisive. We never come up with a new policy. All we do is promise to correct the mistakes of the previous government. And that happens all the time. Kinnock doesn't say, we will do this, 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 this and this to get people back to work. What Kinnock says is the government have done this wrong. Well, we won't do that. We'll put that right and we'll put this right. And all they ever do is clean up the muck. None of them are actually going to strive for a better world, because it's not in their interest to have a better world. If everybody's happy, we don't need politicians. They're parasites.
Well, quite, but I mean, you're saying that I don't know if I go along with that. I mean, you're saying that it's not in their interest to have a better world. I would think that it would be in their interest in terms of long-term popularity.
They're not interested in long-term popularity.
Well, perhaps that's their failing, that they only have a look at the short term.
They only can, because I'm not suggesting that we alter it, but we've only got a 5-year period. Now, they don't even look at the 5-year period. They say, we'll take over. This isn't what they say in public, because we all know that they're liars. But they take over, and what they mean is, you'll have 1 year of austerity, you'll have another year of slightly less austerity, and then all the austerity and all the wealth we've created by that austerity will give you back for the last couple of years so that you'll re-elect us. And then you'll have the austerity again. It's the policies of lunacy.
But there's a contradiction here, isn't there? In that, like, we get a leader, if I use the term loosely, like Thatcher, who presents us with something that is described, or has been described in the popular press, as a vision of the future. And yet it seems that there are possible alternative visions that are failing to be presented, like the vision that we need to move. I mean, for example, the unemployment thing, which has to be the issue of the day. And nobody is saying, hang on a minute, we are not suffering cyclical unemployment here. What we are suffering is structural unemployment, because the nature of society and the nature of industry that we have is changing. It's bound to produce unemployment. Therefore, we should be restructuring our society in order to give people more leisure time, give them a shorter working week, fund them in different ways other than just working under the great Victorian work ethic. None of this is happening, and it bothers me.
The problem is that any such suggestion is immediately attacked by the other politicians. And of course, it's difficult for Kinnock to beat Thatcher or Thatcher to beat Kinnock, but it's impossible for anyone to beat Thatcher and Kinnock. Absolutely impossible.
Yes, I know. I've done this. I mean,
so what you're up against, you're not just up against this concept, this new concept of all loving one another and let's all eat bran and live in windmills. It's a great idea, and I know I'm being flippant. It's a great